You know, I was going to open this up and I was actually going to say, oh, you know, I'm excited for this rematch, guys. Sleepers versus Shopify Rebellion Black. But Zobi, what kind of rematch is it when you're playing a completely different composition? And you also have who now filling in as that initiator?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see the brain difference between Who and between Duck here a little bit. I mean, we're seeing Solana on the Reyna instead of that, like, the iconic Cloves. So I completely agree. And this is the best thing Sleepers honestly could have done for as rehearsed, as structured of a team as Shopify Rebellion Black, who had that footage, who had that VOD review kind of on this kind of veto neon composition that they were running. And I think this is going to throw a wrench into the momentum, into everything completely.
It's pretty cool, too, because, I mean, when you look at Shopify Rebellion Black in their own interviews, there was, you know, a lot of times where Xander had said, we're trying to implement new things in scrims, this and that. You know, we have a pretty good detail of what's going to happen. And now it's impossible to understand, right? Who already gaining some entry in as an initiator and allowing this team to truly flourish on this pistol round. So it seems to work out just as equally as good as if they had Duck here.
Well, I mean, so far so good. Spike is down. The Reyna did Reyna things, pushing into C. Link and Tons is doing clothing, pushing into backside and finding two. It's all down to Ion, who did get the jump timing around logged, but that is all he's going to right. The W key didn't stop, and Sleepers are wide awake with that pistol round on the board. And whew, I mean, you didn't get a chance to finish your sentence before we had that first contact in Garage, right? Like, I think that is going to be the big learning curve for Shopify Rebellion Black right here, is going to be this double duelist instead of this Vito that might be more slow working, that might be trying to get a kill and dismiss out. And I can definitely say they're looking cozy and celebrating that pistol win.
Yeah, I like it. And again, I mean, Who, you have a coach, they said it on the desk, who is now playing on your team. So it's really cool to see someone who not only like is really implementing it live in action, but is also participating in it as well. But so far, so good. Does seem like a slower paced push. EEPY not necessarily being known for how slow they go, though. So Salada is going to be the first one to gain some entry in with a save round. It doesn't matter, because it does seem like Xander is going to get some refrag back. But all in all, right, pistol round in Shopify Rebellion Black is trying their best to keep themselves intact. But EEPY winning this pistol round very, very dramatically.
Yeah, I was a little nervous there for a second, right, with them fighting into the gamble stacked side, especially that paranoia was great, I think, to find an initial opening and shut down Solada. But I like that they're letting the Reyna go first, right? It's not Reyna baiting the team, it's more the Reyna looking for a kill, dismissing out, getting that information, right? Coupled with the Sova, that is really, really nice to see. And it's exactly what we expect this series to go, right? EEPY, we're seeing what form they're in, we're seeing them out-aim as these young guns, and I think that defined how they denied that second round.
Yeah. Yeah, big denial. But now we're getting a little bit more into dangerous territory, right? With the Odin coming through from nature, and there's going to be potentially a bit more of a fight coming through on this attacking half. But relatively considerably slow. It is quite weird, though, Zobi, to see a Reyna on this map.
No, absolutely, and the role shift that comes with it as well, right? Instead of a chamber, instead of a Vito lurk, it's the Reyna look, making contact over towards A first and finding the first kill.
Wow, and potentially a second too, but a duelist v duelist, it's Ion with the stuns coming through the blinds and the jump peaks that Solana cannot make a connection with. And this was the plan all along, to have Solana be that entry over towards A and see if they could get a potential pick. But, you know, slow lurk around here. And how easy is it going to be to get on site? They do have the potential to use Leo for the entry as well. Of course, that double duelist does seem to work out relatively well, but still staying silent.
Yeah, it feels like Solana didn't realize there was going to be Ion there, so they rallied the troops to come take up this space that they claimed, and now the entire team for Shopify Rebellion Black is here. You're fighting into a site that's stacked yet again.
Oh, Sorik's great opening pick. I mean, despite that, though, they're doing really good. Leo utilizing every single piece of util to gain some ground, to isolate these players in these fights, and it works out well, right? That third round, potentially theirs. And I'm not going to count Xander out yet. We've seen some pretty outstanding stuff from Xander this season so far, so I'll give them credit where it's due.
And no trip. It looks like, though, we do have Leo holding long here. So they have every kind of angled covered, right? Chamber holding CT or the Heaven jump out. It's just going to be a matter of if you can slice this pie one at a time. And in time.
Paranoia, too. Oh, but I don't think they're going to use it to solidify it, which is, I mean, I guess it's to save for the next round, whatever it might be. But I do feel like that would have helped their case just a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, they got the first. If they found the second, I think Leo might have been late to the party for that refrag, but just There it is. Source wins out the 1v1, and they are good to go. I mean, kudos to Ion for anchoring the side as long as he did to get the players back rallied towards this A site. But it's, again, we're seeing this consistent trend now with these head-to-head fights, stacked players for both sides. EEPY is coming out on top. And honestly, for Shopify Rebellion Black, that's a hard solution to find. It's like, how do we win these team fights? Especially when you look at a comp like this that doesn't have as much chaotic util like the EEPY comp does.
Yeah, not only that, but EEPY, they talk about having 3 like run it downers on their team, that being Tanza, right, Sorix, and Leo, actually. So to have 3 players that are playing, you know, agents that can be a bit more aggressive with lesser punishment, it's hard. It's hard to play against that. So I feel like really it's just the time to see how can we hold our post plant, or how can we get better at, you know, regaining that ground.
Salada. No contact outside of C, so the regroup called while they feign the A presence with the drone. Does feel like this is the end point, especially Salada can finish this kill.
Just waiting, okay, like this. The smoke to just close things out. They're not wanting to take these 1v1s. They know the fights have been a little more over toward the EEPY side.
Oh, I thought they were going to lean A, which was the weak site for SRB, but again, not afraid to fight where contact has been made. Smoke fades. They spotted 3, and this should prompt SRB to rotate.
Yeah, shotgun ready and prep. I don't think Ion's going to get anything here. No, they do. They take out Salada, so blinds are gone. And their second hand, actually, apologies. Yeah, Salada's gone. So now they just really have the neon of Leo here. And some util to kind of withstand here for the post plant. But in regards to like the util, the only thing Nature can pull is potentially a headshot to take out Leo and get this entry in. X is fighting for their lives, but the crisis starts now, and it's Tanza that really is just keeping EEPY in the game.
2 kills found, going back with 1 HP for the final one. The timing is there, Nature is there for 1, but wow, that's just insult to injury, right? The man has a sheriff, and you're coming back to life to finish the job off of Sorix and meme him along the way.
Wow. I mean, 0 to 4, Zobi, that's a bit brutal starting off so far.
Yeah, and on SRB's pick too, right? I do think, again, this Reyna is just complicating things. And I saw the vision there, right? Ion was supposed to find a kill with the shorty, probably tuck back behind the toxic screen so we could rip that overdrive, because it did, or it was gonna come online after another kill, but it doesn't work out. And you can see the regroup. I was looking forward to this fight out of the ruse there in CT, but perfect interruption there from Tanza.
It's so cool to see the reactions as well of how excited they are to be playing. But yeah, I mean, energy is high. The motivation is high for EEPY. They are one of the top seeds that have been surprising us thus far. But how much can the surprise be right now, especially now that SRB has gotten their first hand pick and the second? So they've closed off this entry, and they have to make a full committal, but they cannot win. Everybody is going down in a matter of seconds, and it's up to who to save it, the coach themselves. And they cannot do that. Instead, it is going to be that first round heading over to Shopify Rebellion Black.
And that is the sort of team fight that we wanted to see in SRB's favor, right? When all the players are colliding on the same site. And it really came down to that toxic strain and that seismo from Xander, redrawing the battle lines and giving them those advantage to kind of take away the tradability we've seen from EEPY in the first few rounds that they were able to find. So really, really great adaptation. And I was looking towards EEPY and the way they're playing, and to me it screams like, hey, this map doesn't have repercussions, right? Corrode and Bind, we beat this team on before. We know we can repeat success against recurring opponents before. So let's just have some fun with our coach too and simplify things. They're going right up the gut every single round, and it's worked out so far. That was the first time it did falter, hence maybe the slower start we're seeing now around grass.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, you know, the coach knows the team the best. So is there going to be major differences in the way they play the game here, depending on what happens with Shopify Rebellion Black? Because we do have just Satellite waiting down to the backside. They didn't necessarily clear it. That's going to be a huge punishment, missing out on Salada, the Reyna, who's supposed to be that top fragger. And in a matter of seconds, right? Player advantage just heading over towards EEPY. They have the B site, and they can play with this.
Spike planted.
It is a 2v3. Smokes are up, bullets are low, and most of the ults ripped away. I think it's going to be off of Ion really to get in here, or you can just shut down the retake altogether. Who? I mean, you might be the coach, but stepping in the server, hitting a shot like that through the smoke, that is brutal, Gompers.
Listen, they said they're all fraggers. 5 Thanos in the lobby. And I believe,
now.
yeah, 6. The 6th Thanos is of whom is now snapping their fingers and completely eliminating the population. We have 8-2 and 6-2 going down. 2 deaths on both sides of the 2 players that are considered to be the best clutchers, and they wait behind, you know, the initial 3 of Ponza, Salada, and Leo. So for me, Zobi, this is as good as it gets. I think this is super exciting to see Sleepers playing against a team that has felt so comfortable and confident in just ensuring the fact that, okay, our scrims are looking good, but you know what? We're going to look even better in the tournament.
No, absolutely. And this timeout is going to be huge for Shopify Rebellion Black. Looking at the buy we saw before, it looks like they're going to try and force the rifles again to complement them with the 4 out of 5 ultimates. And this also acts as just that momentum breaker as well. And also, I think Effie's, again, really experienced coach here. He's probably having to adapt on the fly with this composition shift as well, coming out with the, again, you're not having the same IGL, you're not having the same brain in the server with who probably calling in this situation. So I'm looking towards him to have a fix immediately here. And he's been good at that historically when he was with Shopify Rebellion Gold.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that you said that, right? Like, this is new to them. This isn't what they studied. This isn't who they played. This isn't the composition that they're familiar with. So, you know, in a map that they had lost before, right, it could be the entire opposite. So it's quite difficult to just realize, okay, what can we fix? So I love that you said that. Great point to make. But I mean, this is exciting. Now we actually get to see what is Shopify Rebellion Black going to implement into their gameplay so far.
And what it looks like they're trying to implement is play C retake off of those ultimates, have a pretty heavy stack towards B garage, and have that intel over towards A. Does still look like it's that half buy, so maybe we won't see those ults committed unless they get a few kills. But without drone spotting anything, I'm surprised that EEPY didn't take advantage of this space sooner.
I think one thing they did do really well here for Shopify, though, is shut them down with the smokes. It did seem like kind of playing around their own util quite a bit during the entry, and closing off those choke points seemed to help. So I'm hoping we do get to see a little bit more familiarity with that on Shopify Rebellion Black.
Look at this. Literally, every single player is holding their own line right now for Sleepers, right? Again, that mentality of each of them can hold their own in a fight. And you can see SRB just scrambling around, trying to gamble stack each and every site every step of the way. And somehow Sleepers have identified that weak site. And knowing there's these retake ultimates, look at how far up SaD wants to fight alongside Tonza.
Dude, and so many players already just up on the A site. So this is unfortunate. They've closed off the extremities. And A is not an easy site to retake, especially with the lack of you know, actually, we have a lot of ultimates on the board, so maybe not that hard.
That's why they ran interference, right? And, I mean, but look at Leo rapping, right? He didn't enter. He's not your entry duelist. That's SaD just contacting up, and they're not going to get to use him.
Yeah, contact has been made. EEPY is confident, and I mean, listen, you got a Clove, you got a Chamber, you got a Reyna, you got a Duelist, and Neon. It's going to be so disgustingly hectic on those extremities.
And it's nice to see the dynamic as well between Tonza and SaD hasn't switched, even though their roles technically have, right, between that secondary duelist and that Clove player, right? It's very similar, right? Feaster, famine, agents, and they are playing them as such. And I do really think that SRB, I need to see that confidence here a little bit, because I do feel like this is a composition you can get away with fighting head on, especially with Ion, right? Yeah. Being that big player in the server, but he's instead opting for the op, and instead we're putting the pit down towards C. So I'm curious when that's going to get its return.
And the smoke's gonna cost me a super big threat. I don't know, actually. EEPY has been, no util that we've seen so far has stopped them in their track, right? So, interestingly enough, who is gonna be the first one to make that entry? But they have the spike, so this could be incredibly dangerous. And that it will be, but they've pushed back Satellite, and they had an understanding. This smoke is weirdly placed, and we can take advantage of that.
Oh, and the top screen shot combo drops the spike down. No immediate refloat off of that as well. They're just going to take what they've got. They have Xander deposited on the flank as well. The backstab off from the shadows finds 2. And it's all down to Sorix, who has that operator.
No, and they have enough economy to really not care too much about it. But at the same time, I mean, this
Sorix
is such a big investment.
Monster on camera.
He needs it. He needs to lock in, man. Sometimes it helps with the ADHD, right? Like, I don't know. It all depends, but this is quite interesting. I mean, all in all, you can tell they're not stressed out, regardless of losing this round, right? And the cam, it's not him. I do believe that's actually.
I was like, he's playing with hands on the keyboard. This is very impressive if it was him.
I believe that's SaD. I might be wrong, but I believe that is SaD. I was like, yeah, I was confused because the moment the hands came up, I was like, yeah, like, there's no way.
What's going on? All right, so X, let's see it. I mean, I think you mentioned the money isn't sour, right, on the side of Sleepers, but an op is a pretty penny here,
10
so
seconds left.
They try to keep it in the bank. They want to, again, not let Shopify Rebellion back into this. So again, a few rounds of extra buys could be the difference maker. And speaking of difference makers, I feel like the few rounds that Shopify Rebellion Black have been able to find have been off of Xander, right? The 3K that we found here with that backstab from the shadows, right? The 3K from anchoring the seaside around that site smoke came from Xander. And I think that's something the desk highlighted a lot, that he was going to be one of those difference maker players, especially in that controller head-to-head versus who we thought beyond controllers a lot of.
Yeah, for Tanza too, I don't know. I like it. It's something that's quite funny that I thought I wanted to say today was like, they had said they know like the importance of having the Omen and how long their smokes last and, you know, how forgivable it is to have the paranoia, but they choose the Clove regardless. And I think a part of that is just the way they play, right? They're super aggressive. They need that extra heal. They need some more forgiveness. They need that smoke just in case they die to kind of just clarify, hey, we can win this round, and have Tanza assist with that 3-player entry that they tend to play with. But I'm liking this, right? Ion does have the op. Unfortunately, they're not able to commit too much to it. Just kidding. That's going to be a first 2K going in to the sentry towards B, so it's looking pretty good. EEPY's trying to gain it back, but they cannot, and the resurrection comes down to it, but it's risky, right? The stuns are coming through, and Tanza can't seem to fight this for another round for EEPY to keep this consistency, and that might be it. But Sorix is keeping hold with a 2K and a third, with potential for more. Can they keep this 7-2 under lock? With Satellite slowly working themselves around, and now they have that smoke to just create some sort of distraction and maybe keep that spike under wraps.
Does Satellite know the spikes on the site? That's my question. I feel like the last place you're gonna expect Sorix coming from is C-Link here.
Oh, this is so dangerous too. I don't think they understand that Sorix has made a wraparound. You see Satellite watching main, waiting for some sort of noise indicator, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Sorix slowly moving themselves around, 5 bullets left. And it's Satellite waiting in the back. They have no idea. Can it be Sorix's game? And it will not. Satellite aware of the angle hole.
Ooh, and this was my player to watch in the server, getting the 3rd round across for Shopify Rebellion Black, right? Stepping away from the duelist into the Viper, and that is what you're going to see, is that clutch factor in exchange for those first bloods. And this round I really liked, right? It felt like we saw the takeaways from the timeout actually come in terms of not losing control over these linked spaces, like we saw previously, that super chaotic round where it looked like Sleepers were gonna go A and then they stayed B, and we saw Ion getting a little confident, right, in some of those swings with the close range operator, and that's what we need to see in the server if they want a chance of closing this gap before the half is up.
I agree. Shut down the team that's aggressive, that's confident. Make them lack that confidence, and that's where the weakness will show. And I mean, at the same time, listen, when you're coaching, it's a lot easier to kind of see how the game is working and then readjust and get those timeouts. But you're in it, right? There's not enough time to really analyze too much, so it's really on the dot here for EEPY.
All right. Once again, they're now conditioning that. Okay, the Reyna, is she alone? Is she not alone? This time the answer is no, right? So Xander makes contact. The entire team, though, for Sleepers, backing Salada up for the time being, taking the long space. They look like they're just ending here.
Oh, they're going in. They don't fake. EEPY does not fake. And they know very, very well where they want to go every single time. So with confidence, they will go in, they will get that spike down, and they will actually move out of the way because this Killjoy lockdown is causing some havoc here.
I had the off-default plant to deny Nature's Hunter's Fury. Salada, though, I mean, yeah, you can dismiss past that lockdown if you get the kill, but that was a big if you got the kill!
Oh, and a little too late for the peak, but now especially, I mean, you can see everybody's fighting for their lives to just try to get away from the majority of util, but Exa finally gets headshot down, and Leo's fighting for the site, but Ion a bit stronger. The ultimates, really the win condition here for Shopify Rebellion Black, and it just keeps on coming into their favor for Ion to get a 4K to close this round out.
I told you last round, Ion was getting online. He was starting to feel it with his movement, and that round was the perfect example, right? The fast lane doesn't quite eclipse the long eagle while they're trying to stick the spike, so he sends himself down long in its stead and cleans up the remaining Sleepers players in that post plant. And it is nice to see now that Shopify Rebellion Black are playing a little bit more disconnected on the A side, right? We mentioned these head-to-head fights on that side of the map were never going their way in the early half. So instead, they are playing this more committed retakes. They had the luxury of the ultimates to help facilitate that process as well. So now I'm curious if they can do it without the ultimates, right?
That is the big question, because it was a lot of Ion, you know, coming in, being able to throw away the ult for a second.
Too.
Yeah, so quite difficult, I will say, to to see what else they can do here. But I do like the change of the Odin coming through from nature. I think this sandwich in this entry, especially now with the vulnerability and the damage that they were able to put through with Viper alone. This is beautiful.
Yeah, they're playing a little bit more forward, which is exactly what I asked of them to do. Disrespect sleepers and find kills like this. Put big power players like Satellite in position to win.
Gorgeous. And Sorix with the golden gun, showing that they are in fact the MVP. So potentially they can keep this clutch coming. But a 1v5, I don't know. Actually, we've seen some aces in the hands of Duck, but Duck not here. So what can Sorix do in this moment?
Came close to a clutch earlier. This time, though, with money souring finally in this half right before its conclusion, feels like they need at least desire to hold on to this Vandal for the time being, but they are closing in from every side on SRB's side.
Oh my goodness, this is not good. Sandwiched in. Sorix not even knowing somebody's wrapping around the flank. And yeah, 5, 6. So you know what once was dominant for EP, they're getting red pretty good, Zoe.
Yeah, that timeout was a huge kind of turn for Shopify Rebellion Black, and I am curious then how this composition for the side of sleepers is going to fare after the side swap, right? To me, aside from that Neon, there's not really scary sight hold utility, right? It is going to be that aggression that I'm hoping we can see Nature call around and evade really, really easily. But we've got to finish the half first. And SRB, they're taking that confidence, the few rounds they have found in stride, finally looking like they're going to fight forward into the A line off the snake bite.
They've been feeling it, and they've noticed the aggression has been helping. I mean, Ion winning every single first engagement that they can take with them. And with that being said, right, like, who has a shotgun? So the most that can happen is potentially, like, Ion will be a little bit more aggressive, actually now picking up the Vandal and using their Hunter's Fury for this last round, with a kill just waiting to go into their hands, but they cannot secure it.
And now it's just like, guys, don't overfight. You've got the numbers, you've got the A main space, you've got the info C, garage B, off of the Killjoy utility. They're in a good position. They just need to close it out.
That they will do. Boo left alone. Yep, and a double swing coming through from Shopify Rebellion Black. So it does close off that half 6-6. And Zoe, you talked about switching sides and how exactly that could go in favor of one or the other. So I'm quite excited to see, especially with Ion now being a little bit more confident on the defense, how that's going to work itself around when they are finally a bit more comfortable on the attack here.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see a more traditional Haven attack out of Shopify Rebellion Black, right? Like, I don't think I ever really saw Leo on a dive entry unless Solana was dead, right? And you don't have that secondary duelist to rely upon for the side of Shopify Rebellion Black. It is going to be Ion, and he's in form, 16-7 right now. But Sleepers, one thing we knew that this composition was going to entail was fighting forward, right? You don't have a lot of delay. You don't have a lot of sight hold power like they had with that toxic screen for SRB's side. So look at this, right? We're expecting a Neon down short. We're expecting the Dark to set Leo up. Yeah. And I'm curious to see how that's going to fare with SRB having 5 towards A.
Yeah, a team that doesn't know what a default is now on the defense. So you know, how well will that fare out? Can they hold this team back? It really is just a game of stability for EP. How well that's gonna work. So now we are getting that entry in. It does seem like through the smoke actually alone, they're able to get a couple, and a couple turns into more. So 2 players left for EP to play with this pistol round to see if they can secure something, right? Isolate these fights and find these 1v1s just underneath. Of course, they do find Ion, but Ion's been absolutely insane. And even with the half switch, it doesn't change.
Yeah, no overfights, just info, and then 3, 2, 1, everyone's swinging at the same time, and we're getting spoiler alert here of the flawless satellite dome Solana through the dark cover that just set in stone. And I really liked how Shopify Rebellion opened that round after short contact was made, right? They put so much utility to deterring that initial fight from sleepers, right? That win con for this composition. And if they keep that up, I do think that they are going to probably extend this lead that they just claimed after a bumpy start. And
I mean, Shopify, they tend to kind of roll with the punches a bit more once they secure those pistol rounds. You can tell that they feel a bit more comfortable proceeding. So I'm quite excited, right? I mean, obviously we talk a bit about Ion, but I think Satellite's doing a really good job at kind of just like keeping the team pushed back here for EP, especially now that we've migrated over to the attack. I'm looking for something more though, right? We're searching down in mid, Nature trying to gather some information as to what's going down in those front lines, but I mean, Shock Dart's not even connecting, right? Everybody on EP on the backside, and there goes Nature, finding one, and just diminishing every single person on the attack, but they're hiding on the outskirts. And I mean, potentially Tonsa can actually run away. There's not a weapon right here for EP to fight with. They're trying their best. Jiggle Peaks one day will give us a little bit more to fight for, but I like that, the usage of util to push these players out, zone them into a position that they want to play with. And I mean, now for Tonsa, they know that they're not going to be able to fight this.
Yeah, back-to-back flawless round for Shopify Rebellion Black. Huge when you look at the bye that they are going to have into the next round. But honestly, I could have seen that round going very south since they were execing B on a site with 3 Buckies. But I think that modified smoke from Xander, that one way just allowed for some of those nice shots from Nature to come through, deny really this site reflood, and as well not falling victim to the bait of the tap for everyone, because to reflood in like you normally see once that util's been expended, they just held their cool and won it out. So 8-6 here now, a huge round in store for Sleepers. That's kind of weakened by that triple Bucky bye, but see how it turns out.
Yeah, and notoriously for EP, they've not been the best on defense on Haven, right? So it's going to take a lot of adjustments and adaptations to fight against the side of Shopify Rebellion Black, especially, oh, this is great for Soric, so they've actually not spotted him. So the paranoia, completely wasted, no entry in, and they have to make a rotation.
Wow, and look at the gamble that Sleepers made. 5 players on this A site. You saw them thinking of peeling off, but this contact against Satellite feels like a red herring at first. Right, they stay here, and I thought we were just going to see those players leave that were originally short, but they've called everyone back. And look at the reclear from Sleepers A long. This is going to get messy.
Ooh, yeah, and they're going to have to fight. No paranoia in hand. I mean, the only thing they can apply is a lot of grind. But all in all, EP, they have lost 2 of their players. They've gotten some pretty good trade-offs here, and that they will do. They play so much better when they have the majority of their team following in with those entries, and I feel like they have figured it out here. Just gathering information on that 5-person team.
30 seconds exactly left. Right. When you've given up the entire B and C side of the map, you need answers, and that was the best solution they could come up with. It got them the number advantage, and with the Neon, right? Leo can make his way over to the C side. Well, yes, he's low HP, but he's gonna get the answers one way or another.
Ooh, yep, and Nature is gonna let Nature run its course. I'm stealing someone's joke, so I liked it. We're gonna see potentially a bit more though. 1v1 from Tonsa and a wide swing. That solidifies. So that's great. They acted upon that live information and knew exactly where they had to aim.
Cool. I have no clue what happened there with the little jump out of Nature, but Spike doesn't even get to go down. We don't get to see the 1v1 run its course. And yeah, the rifle round, that strong buy for Shopify Rebellion Black that could have kind of solidified their hold on this half comes crumbling down by, again, this really good call. And that's where I want to know, who made the call? Was it Coach Who? Or who made the call? Who made the call?
Yeah, who made the call, literally. The IGL and the coach of the game, the strongest Thanos
Imagine
of all.
It wasn't him that made the call.
Yeah, just blasting his name. Blasphemy. No, but I like it. I think EP, all in all, right, like, I mean, the worst that could happen is they lose a couple rounds, but they learn from it. And both of these teams have shown that their adaptations come in quick.
Absolutely, but Shopify Rebellion Black not burned by that initial A exec in the previous round. Money's still stable. On the flip side, though, a few players did drop down. Leo, Who, Bucky, and Sheriff, respectively here. Hence the close garage angle. So curious to see where the endpoint is for Shopify Rebellion Black. Will the drone spot out the Bucky? Will the players on B get a opening kill?
Ooh. It's a lot slower than EP for sure. I feel like this half is going a lot longer than what the first half was. But it seems like the default thing is a bit more prevalent here for a team that's a bit more tactical, right? In regards to the way they like to play the game. So information given away, the TP trying to make themselves known in Garage. What a beautiful TP, but Solana stronger, playing into the Reina role, knowing they need to get these frags to ensure some sort of victory, and a Shopify Rebellion Black fighting back, right? So this is impeccable, utilizing their util to isolate some of these fights, and now leaving Solana alone for their lonesome on the site. No heal to be seen, and it's up to Tonsa to take this 1v2, a wide swing through. And Exa does shut it down, and that's going to be a huge round win from Shopify Rebellion Black to turn everything around.
I mean, SaD started making me feel like Reyna was one of the best anchors in the game when I previously said that wasn't going to be a win condition for them. And it felt like Shopify Rebellion understood that he was on a heater, so they didn't give him any 1v1s, right? They tried to regroup, right? You saw Nature and the players that found that kill in C-Link crunching onto him. And while Tonza got the timing for one, then they also know that Tonza's a threat and didn't give him the ones either, right? The ruse kind of prevented it for a second, but Nature was ready to trade Exa on a dime if that kill was not solidified. But coming into the next, expecting Sleepers giving up the C site, playing more of a heavy retake, where they're just happy to rotate so fast.
And instead of peeking together like they have been, it's the solo peek from SaD that gets punished, unfortunately, here for Sleepy. So it seems like a rotation. I don't think they have a decent understanding of how many players are actually sitting here on the A site. And it doesn't matter. They're just gonna take them out regardless.
Good punish. No weapon collected either. So now you have to rotate an additional player like Tonza over to this site, and then that's just leaving more gaps towards C and Garage. So again, it's these gambles you have to make while down numbers, and I mean, they're all in the right place at the right time.
And I like the smoke. This is a great smoke to kind of like weave and bob throughout. Try to solidify that at least you have a bit more coverage and space here. Tonza playing inside of it, but Xander knows what the tricks are. And Shopify Rebellion Black taking charge here on the A site and getting their post plant down. So when you leave it up to Source with just a classic in hand, it's not going to end up the way that you had planned. So yeah, big win on Shopify's side.
Yep. Again, showing that disrespect, fighting the stack site and winning out, denying that eco round from Sleepers. And this is the moment where if we had Duck in the server and Who in the coaching booth, I would have expected a timeout, right? From Sleepers to come through, right? Haven't really gotten a grasp on this half. The rotations have been a little bit loose. There's been gaps. And somehow SRB hasn't exploited the gaps, right? They've gotten lucky in that regard. I think the one catastrophic round was when Satellite and Exa got up through window into C-Link, but outside of that, I mean, they're heating up, right? Look at the buy, look at the ults. If Sleepers lose this round, it's not going to be a good look.
Oh, they're already missing out on their first shot. They have to move back. They're trying to keep on as long as they can for Leo, but it's unfortunate, right? Like, you miss out on that first op shot. Now you have to retake with it and try your best to use the util that you've already expended. So all you really have is, like, just some sort of coverage to get yourself onto site.
Ooh, Garage the weak point here. EEPY identifying it, stacking, trying to reflood into it, but there's an alarm bot. There's Ion low HP, ready to throw his life away, and a plethora of shock darts to come that way. I think they've called a save because of how many ults Shopify Rebellion Black expended. Oh, you just lost the up!
Yeah, Leo, I don't know what that was. Did they throw it back? Oh, no, they didn't.
Recovery mission successful.
Yeah, so it's good. It's all good. So who has it? I'm not sure what the... Oh. Wait, guys, I don't like this joke, guys. I don't like this joke. But I mean, that's good. All in all, I'm not quite sure why Leo would sacrifice themselves. And I guess, like, seeing if they could push for it. But either way, right, Shopify.
I mean, one off the ult, maybe it would be the only rationale, perhaps, to accompany that ult you mentioned. Sorry, that op, I should say. You mentioned having to retake with the operator being an issue, but... yeah, I'm glad they recovered the op. If they didn't, things would have been a little bit dicier, but... all in all... that was the big ult round that we expected out of Shopify Rebellion Black. And the save, I think, gives Sleepers that second opportunity. Instead of it just being you're broken, it's SRB up to 12, and then you need 5 for OT. It's just a matter of... we mentioned last half how a lot of the first bloods dictated the rounds. Well, it doesn't feel like Sleepers are getting any of them this half.
No, they've been struggling very, very badly. And the defense... I mean, again, not the best on the defense, right? Obviously, they seem to have a higher win rate on their attacking side, rightfully so. This is a team that plays better when they're able to be aggressive, and now they have to be passive.
I do like the speed, again, in which they re-clear space, but
yeah,
again, if it mismatches with the execution timings from Shopify Rebellion Black, that's where there's been gaps, that's where there's been isolated players, and well, in the first half, the isolated players just fragged out anyways. That hasn't been the case with Shopify Rebellion Black in full control over the momentum. And honestly, I don't know if it's just like the internal feeling, or I was gonna say Sleepers have gotten lucky, but it feels like they're always stacking the side that SRB is heading towards, right? Even Spike leaning A this round. So I'm curious if Satellite or Exa are gonna make the call to lean back towards B, back towards C. Peekaboo.
Yeah, right? Like, hey, the information's coming through and nobody's A, guys. So I like this. Who's locked in? Yeah, but not a lot of noise from Shopify. The B side already taken up, and there hasn't been a rotation yet, though, with the spike. In fact, they're just fighting mid. Hurts a lot of, and there goes one. So Nature is down. They've lost out on their own Sova, so that's very unfortunate.
Sorex is behind this entire egg second. They know Spike is there. Spike should have been down, but Side Smoke provides protection. Tonza trying to get away.
Spike down.
Oh, and the ultimate, they used it, but they did manage to get one. All in all, this leaves for player advantage here for EEPY, and Axel's just having an existential crisis, to be honest. Like, they're 1v3 right now. What else can they do? And they've lost the round, so this is perfect for EEPY to kind of come back from a loss. You know, they lost out on Leo. Now Leo can potentially get the ult next round and kind of play with that.
Oh, and Exa barely missing Sorex, who honestly was the kingmaker that round for Sleepers, right? I mean, 15 and 12 right now, but his wrap long is what completely destroyed that round, right? I mentioned how there wasn't really the Gath exploitation from Shopify Rebellion Black yet, and we saw it front and center that round from Satellite and from Exa. And again, honestly, Sleepers is so lucky that Sorex found that timing, and it's not something you will likely be able to easily replicate in future rounds. So you can see now they're trying to patch up these holds on the choke points across the map. We have the trademark A, so they can crutch on the Tour de Force short.
Yeah.
B is still a sour spot, though, I was going to say. So I like the rotation here from who to patch it up.
But Sorex needs to commit to the site, right? Like, if they're planning on using that shotgun that they have in hand, they're gonna have to play with Tonza. And unfortunately, actually, no, they've TP'd back. They're gonna wait for some sort of opening position to play with here down in main.
This is the first full-on retake we're gonna see attempted, we think, out of Sleepers, unless they call the save again. But
yeah,
they don't want SRB on 12.
And with Tonza gone, they don't have too many smokes to play with. I mean, potentially waiting for the time to come when they can place one. But all in all, right, like Xander taking down who, lacking information already, and they're gonna have to play it towards top. Oh my goodness, already a 3K down on the board, and that's gonna be a round win here. 12 and 8 for Shopify. The match point that leaves EEPY wondering, can we close this out?
I mean, the dive made the meat grinder, makes the sausages, and there's nothing you really can write home about on that retake. And there was that internal moment of like contemplation of, do we save again? And they decided against it, having just enough to get through with some of the Vandals and full shields, minus who here, who has a decision to make about the Bandit. But that was what we needed to see. SRB having a really strong post. I also like Xander again being that 3K master, right? It clears out a big player like Tonza, sets up that crossfire with Ion, and they go to town. So this round, I like the momentum to try to upkeep here with his fast B exec. But speaking of momentum, look at Sleepers.
They've already pushed out. They're like, we're just gonna do what Shopify did when we were getting a little overwhelming, and that is exactly how they place Lada with a second one, and there they go. That's okay. That's okay, because Leo just flanked it. 33 health left to their name, and a round win for EEPY.
I mean, that was just a hard read onto what Shopify Rebellion Black has been doing, right? It's been these A defaults perpetually, round after round, right? And that Hunter's Fury combination was supposed to, again, launch and counter it, try to get some shift damage off so players like Leo could win the head-on confrontation. And instead, because SRB was so mid-heavy, you had SaD able to, again, leverage that Reyna, find that pressure, that distraction factor, so the flank could come through, so they could get that crunch. And yeah, Sleepers, first blood, and all of it followed through, I should say. And SRB, 3 more rounds to put their map pick away right now. And you can see how nervous they are this time, right? Waiting for that kind of pressure to mount.
But this is where it's a make it or break it, right? Nerves cannot get to you. For Shopify, they seem more passive, afraid of what EEPY can do. They've seen them get aggressive out towards Garage, and they're hoping they can find some sort of pick. But Solana's like, no!
Look at that smile.
No Garage for me, actually. I'm just gonna wide swing out of mid.
Yeah, I like the chamber switch up too here. Solo towards C, trademark in Garage. It is probably going to be a C retake at this rate, right? A stacked the high heavens with 4 players here. They're probably going to do that same set play, re-clear A with 3 to 4 players, and just trust in Sorax, and it is well faithed.
With 2 down. I mean, 2 very, very outstanding players that would have kept the game alive. Xander lacking in the smokes, and Satellite already placing theirs down. So, I mean, it's up to Ion. Make sure the C site has been cleared.
I like that they give up the space, too, to try and get control elsewhere. Make sure there is no Satellite lurk before going about the retake. Or you can spot on Nature, who you've confirmed was Garage.
Oh, wow, and this is such a beautiful flank. They've waited for them to peek outside of mid, and the patience, it does actually account for something, right? EEPY now having 3 players left alive, but we still do have Iron with a lot of firepower. How do they do it? Leaving Sorex to have to apply themselves for that 3K, so it's going to be a 2v1. And Satellite left alone, they can actually play for the spike here with beautiful shots. I mean, potentially so, actually, it will be. I wasn't expecting a wide swing to come through and a huge victory, but that's going to be Shopify Rebellion Black taking this round by stride.